All right, what is up, guys? I hope everyone is doing well after the holidays. I haven't posted in a bit just because everything was so busy, but stuff is picking up, and as you can see in the title of the video, I really want to talk about Avengers Doomsday, man. Now, I have a bit of a conflict here because I used to love the MCU. I'm one of those guys that grew up at its peak when everything was fucking awesome, pretty much. You know, you had the first Avengers, all the other ones that came after it, all these great movies, Civil War, Spider-Man. Everything was just peak, honestly. Infinity War, Endgame, I was there for it all. So I am in a bit of conflict because there is that nostalgia, and I'm all about that nostalgia, even though I don't really want to be. It's just kind of forced because I just love those movies so much. But I've also been one of those people that has been heavily critical about the MCU recently in the last like six years ish when they started the whole reset with all these new characters. And I'm just worried about Avengers Doomsday because as much as I don't want to buy in to the shit that they seem to be wanting to feed us, I just really can't help it a little bit. But I'm also extremely worried at the same time because I just don't see a way that this movie doesn't end up being like a pile of slop. I don't see a way in which it's not just completely nostalgia bait, fucking terrible writing, just trying to get people that used to be fans like me and other people that I know back in the theater. And it's probably going to work. Like, I don't doubt that this movie's going to make a shit ton of money. Guarantee it will make a shit ton of money. It will probably cross $1 billion. But in terms of the actual product we're going to get, I'm worried, man. I do not have faith that this is going to be what people like myself are hoping that it is. I'm terrified because it just kind of seems like the MCU is directionless. They're really getting deep into the bag in order to get people to come watch this movie. And it's like, for at what cost? Because now they're taking Doctor Doom, who's basically one of the biggest MCU villain, not MCU, Marvel villains in general. Everyone loves Doom. He's a fan favorite pretty much for most people that I know that like comic books and like superhero movies and superhero characters. And they're kind of just turning him into like a gimmick because he's literally just Iron Man. It's the guy that's played Iron Man is playing him. It's impossible not to make the comparison and theory craft that they're gonna go with something along the lines of like people are confused when he shows up because he looks like Tony Stark, or are they just not going to acknowledge that at all? And is it going to be just weird and stupid? Or are they going to do like, oh, he's a Tony Stark variant? And then either way, it's just chalking up Doom to a gimmick and not his own character. I just don't see how in any world that's going to go over well with fans, no matter how much fan service nostalgia bait they throw in this movie, which they're throwing a fucking lot. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of seems like it's like a head scratching decision here because on one hand you're kind of happy that you're getting all these characters back. On the surface you're like, wow, that's going to be cool. I get to see all these characters I knew and I loved when I was younger. But for the younger audience, it's like they don't have an attachment to these characters. Like kids that are like 8, 9 years old, they never heard of Cyclops from the original X-Men. They didn't watch, even Days of Future Past is probably too long ago for them. So they don't know about any of these characters. Tobey Maguire, forget it. I mean, unless their parents showed them these movies, they're not going to know who it is. So it's just like, what's the audience? 30-year-old men? Because that's what I am, and that's what it seems like the audience is. And it's just a weird decision. I just don't understand it. I know for these companies it's always profit over anything else basically, but I feel like at some point you have to start delivering quality because that's what got them in this mess in the first place, to having to even go to these lengths. They can't go with what they've been doing because no one cares, so they have to go back. But in doing so, it's also probably going to be shit quality. It's like, this is what happens when you don't have people that actually know what they're doing in the directors' booths, in these positions of power at these companies. This is what happens, and this is what I'm worried about. And I think most fans should be worried about this because I don't think it bodes well for the future of Marvel at all. I think eventually they're just going to have to scrap everything because where do they even go from here? Are they just going to keep throwing Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. at you over and over and over again? Like, how long could these people really do this? And I don't think it's sustainable, to be honest. They might have a hit here. I don't think the movie will be good, but in terms of commercial success, like I said before, I mean, that's kind of inevitable. You know, we've gotten a lot of trailers recently. They kind of been splitting up the marketing of this movie into like small little trailers for specific characters. So, you know, we had Steve Rogers, we had Thor, and today actually we got the X-Men trailer that, you know, we have that clip of Cyclops, and the visual looks amazing. And honestly, looks like it takes a lot from Zack Snyder. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. Fucking Zack Snyder is awesome, and that inspired shot looks cool as fuck. But I do have these worries about the nostalgia factor. Like, there's gonna be so many characters in this movie that I don't know what exactly they're gonna do with them. How are they gonna fit in? How much screen time are these characters gonna get? Because, you know, you got Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man that's been confirmed, my favorite of all time, and it's like, what is he even doing there? Like, I'm worried about what the actual goal is with these characters. I just feel like it's gonna just be chalked up to nostalgia, and, you know, have have these characters that you love, and we're just probably gonna butcher them in this movie, and they're gonna really have no motives, no arcs, because we've seen it all before. As much as I love these characters, it's like I would love if these characters just had their own send offs and that was it. Like Tony Stark had a beautiful send off in Infinity War, and now he's back. Even though I get that they're saying he's not Tony Stark, and it's, I guess, Victor Von Doom. I don't know the full details of that. If anyone wants to let me know in the comments, but it's like, dude, it just feels like Kevin Feige and the MCU just have no idea what they're doing. It's like they chalked up the last 5 or so years of the MCU as a failure, and it's just like, you know what? Let's press the red button. Let's get all the OGs back. People will eat this shit up, and it doesn't matter whether it's actually good or not, because people are gonna come to the theater for RDJ, you know, um, Tobey Maguire, all these old actors from the MCU, you know, Ian McKellen, they're coming back for Magneto, they're coming back for Patrick Stewart, and Chris Evans, obviously. And it's like, what is the end goal? I just feel like it's so lazy, and I just can't figure out if this movie's gonna even come close to living up to anything anyone says. Like, it's clearly just kind of like a retcon of everything we've seen since Endgame, because it's kind of being touted as like a sequel to Endgame, which makes absolutely no sense in terms of, you know, the continuity of the MCU. Which, don't get me wrong, I don't give a flying fuck about anything that's been going on in the MCU. All these characters in their half-assed, you know, Disney shows, they're not that good. Aside from Loki, everything else kind of just a waste. So I don't blame them for doing that. I just more don't really understand the goal. Where are they going with it? I know they released the Thor trailer, and they're bringing Thor back to the roots of, you know, like poetry, Shakespearean style, Old English Thor, which is obviously like a way better character than what they've been doing with him recently. But how much screen time is he actually going to get? Because it seems like they're more trying to focus heavily on, you know, Chris Evans and RDJ, so Captain America and I guess Doom. Um, I don't know if they're gonna try and tie in Tony Stark to any of that, but either way, it's kind of goofy because Tony Stark had just such a good send off. It's like, why bringing him back and ruin that? The X Men also, it's just like, what are they even gonna do with the X Men? Like, just use them, like, for what? What's the main goal? Are these people going to be coming back long term? Are they going to be in more movies? More and more, I just start thinking that they should probably have just done like a soft reboot of Marvel entirely, and maybe that's what this is going to turn out to be. I don't know for sure, but either way, I'm terrified. And yeah, I mean, I really don't know what else to say. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see, and, you know, go watch this movie, and then I'll have more thoughts when we get more info. You know, if any of you guys watching this love this content or like this content, please subscribe. I think it's like 99% of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so I'd really appreciate that. It really motivates me. It'll really help the channel a lot. Like and comment as well. I love talking to you guys. So that's about it, man. Hope you're having a good day, and peace.